special edition of WeatherScope. Comprehensive severe weather coverage from the Weather Channel Forecast Center.
Well, good morning. Mark and Q back together. Just off the coast there of South Carolina and North Carolina, center circulation pretty much in through here, and there you can see quite a shield of clouds around it. We've enhanced the colder cloud tops, and you can start to see some of that now just kind of tickling the coast of South Carolina and North Carolina. And coming up in just a moment, we'll have a live interview from Horry County and also from Jeff Morrow here on the Outer Banks, so you can get a feel of they're both on the edge of the action here. Center of circulation pretty much in through here. Storms pulling up towards the north and moving at about 10 miles an hour. And as we check on the particulars from the 8 a.m. advisory, central pressure changes.
The wind maybe has backed off just a little bit, Mark. It still looks very ominous out over the open ocean from time to time, but we've had just very brief rain squalls move through and nothing particularly heavy. Yesterday afternoon, the rain was tremendously heavy, and we picked up about 2 inches of rain here. But so far this morning, thankfully, for me anyway, it hasn't rained real hard, but we're expecting that to change a bit later on. We're looking up the beach. In other words, we're looking north here. That's away from the direction of the hurricane. But I did want to show you a little bit of how fragile this coastal area is. There's a very thin dune line, Mark, between the Atlantic Ocean and Highway 12, which would be just to the left there, and then Pamlico Sound. And it would not take very much at all of a surge from the ocean to really breach that dune. We're not expecting that really so much on this side, but particularly down toward Ocracoke Island, where they had some overwash yesterday, and on the south side here of Hatteras Island. As the hurricane moves inland and some of those stronger winds come closer, we may have a little bit more of an overwash problem, and I think that'll probably be the main problem out here in the Outer Banks from this particular hurricane.
And Jeff, the high tide occurs later on this afternoon, early this evening, I do believe between 6 and 7 or so?
That's about right. We're actually coming up on a low tide here right now, so the surface has backed off from the dune line, but you're right, about 5 or 6 o'clock this afternoon we'll be coming back to a high tide, and that's when we'll probably have the most problems.
And at that time of the day, that's probably when the storm will be getting closer to your area. You'll start to feel some of the worst effects of that storm. And do you have a safe place to go there in case that surge does rise on up there about 4, 5, 6 feet?
Yeah, we'll probably be back away from the beach. Actually, if we stay where we are here, we have some places that we can get back away from the beach, but we'll still be elevated enough so we'll be able to show you the ocean. So I think we're okay at this point.
Okay, and we'll talk to you in just a little while. Thanks a lot,
Okay.
Jeff. Okay, that's Jeff Morrow reporting live from the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Now let's take you down the coast. And
presently a little bit of rain, a few drizzles and the like going on.
And could you tell us what the conditions are like at the beach now as the storm does get a little bit closer?
As I said, the winds are picking up. However, we've been fortunate. A lot of people have already evacuated, so everybody's basically getting prepared for the full impact of it should it decide to come this way.
Okay, and you mentioned evacuations. What time do those evacuations begin, and where did everybody go?
The governor of the state of South Carolina issued a mandatory evacuation yesterday about 12 to 1 o'clock. At that time, people began to leave. There are 10 evacuation centers in Horry County, 2 of which are already at maximum capacity, and a great deal of the residents and tourists have left the county, in addition to approximately 4,000 being located in the 10 evacuation centers.
And do you have any words of advice to the people who are in the shelters and they've seen the weather this morning and they say, hey, it's really not too bad?
My advice to them would be, as everyone knows, hurricanes are unpredictable. Anything could occur at any time. In addition, there are side effects such as tornadoes and the like. While in the shelter, we would strongly suggest they remember that this is a stressful situation, remain calm and tolerant, and try their best to be cooperative and ride out the storm.
Okay, thank you very much, Doug.
Thank you.
And we'll try and talk to you later, a little bit later on. Now let's show you the visible satellite picture and get a good view of the storm as it nears the coast of North and South Carolina. And you can see the big blob right here. And here's where the center is, pretty much in this area right in through here. And it's taking a turn a little bit more towards the north and dug right in through here, just on the edge of the action. And here's Jeff, and he's just starting to get into some of the thicker cloud cover too. Doppler radar does show us the bands of heavier rain just coming into southeastern North Carolina, right around Cape Fear. Looks like it's getting quite bad. And looking down to the south, you can see the center of circulation. And if that storm over the warm waters, it has intensified just a little bit. So it looks like the worst coming into southeast North Carolina, even as I speak, right around Cape Fear. So it looks like torrential rain.
Oklahoma, then south towards Sherman and Denison, Texas. Some rain into the Dallas-Fort Worth area, fairly light rain here, but this whole area hasn't moved much. The rain cells have, but they're still tracking over the same area, so we'll see some significant rain. Fort Smith last hour reported some very heavy rainfall. Another area of moisture is out ahead of this cold front. From Dubuque, Iowa, and Cedar Rapids, some heavier rains up to Madison, Milwaukee, and Green Bay on up into the lakes. And then, of course, all that moisture Mark just showed us coming inland as it wraps around Hurricane Bertha. Here's a look at the national picture, and again, we can see that moisture with Bertha now beginning to creep as far to the north as just about Philadelphia and the southern shores of New Jersey, while we have the action ahead of our front and once again into Oklahoma and Texas. We show you this on our local radar as we zero in on the action, if we can. Where is it? Yoo-hoo, thank you. Towards the clouds and wet weather in Raleigh, North Carolina with moderate rain, 68 degrees, 70s generally.